Hi, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Kelly D, and this is Dr. B. And as mentioned, our first episode is going to be on sexual health. And specifically, we are going to talk about how to make yourself a priority. So, Dr. B, how do you make yourself a priority?
Oh gosh. In and out of the bedroom, I think is actually so important, right? So even though this is sexual health, I think what happens outside the bedroom actually trickles into what's happening in the bedroom. So I'm
100%.
gonna I'm gonna take it out of the bedroom for a minute and just really, I think some of the biggest
Just for
things,
now.
yeah, just for now, we'll come back to the bedroom. Um, but really it's been this evolution, right? It's been this evolution of like creating boundaries, of knowing my worth, of taking time for myself, of believing in myself and knowing that I am worth saying yes, and I have the ability to also say no without guilt. And so really strengthening that idea of like what aligns with me best, right? Like what is it that I can do right now in this moment, whether it's 5:30 in the morning and I just woke up and I'm grabbing my coffee and a book to get me started and get me in this idea of intentionality for the day until the rest of the house wakes up. Or maybe it's later at night and it is taking that time to soak in a bath or go for a walk or whatever that is that just honors what I need in that moment. And the way I look at that is being able to just connect with my like highest intelligence. And almost like, cause soccer girl here, right? Like this idea of I'm the coach on the field, the soccer field, but I have that like speaker box at the top of the stadium. And
Yeah.
there's like an intelligence up there that can see the field in a different way. And so for me, it's like, hey, if I have my like little walkie-talkie on and I can connect with that higher intelligence who sees the field in a different way, together we're even more powerful.
I love that analogy. That's great.
Yeah.
So when you carve out your time for yourself and you make yourself a priority, is it mostly that you prefer in the morning that gives you that sense of grounding to create your day?
Yes, and more than that. So really the morning, I used to work out in the morning. And so it was like you get up, you got to get to the gym, you're getting dressed. It's like this immediate go, go, go in a sense. And not that working out in the morning is wrong or anything. It actually served me really well at that time. But I started to realize that it put me in this mind frame of like go, go, go all day long. So for me, it was kind of reframing my brain that I had this belief that if I didn't work on the morning, I wasn't going to work out at all. And so I just like told myself, like, well, if you didn't get up or for whatever reason you didn't get to your workout this morning, like it's just a lost cause. And so my husband, however, was working out at night. So we never saw each other because I was going at 5 in the morning and he was going right after work and wasn't home till 8 o'clock at night. And I was like, this has got to change. So it's kind of with awareness, but kind of also with this like our dynamic is terrible and we need to just shift this so that it like
Yeah.
really serves our relationship. So we built a garage gym and we started working out together at night. And that took me a little
Nice.
bit of time to just transition into, oh, this actually doesn't make me tired. It actually helps me move my feelings and emotions, especially working with others with stories, with traumas, with experiences, being able
Yeah.
to like move that through myself and kind of clear me at the end of the day. So it's actually become a more beautiful thing. So that mornings are now like cherished, right? It's, I get my coffee, I get my water, I have my book, I have my journal, and I don't have a specific set boom, 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 boom. It's more of this, what do I need right now? Do I need to write? Or do I need to read? Or do I need to read a thing and then write about it? So I kind of go back and forth. And then the other thing I would say I've created for just that self awareness is in between clients or in between transitions. So, like dropping off my child at school and going into the clinic, I have a set transition. It doesn't take long. It's like 30 seconds to a minute, but it just allows me to like take that breath, reground myself moving into the next transition, as well as client to client to client. I don't want to stir things up here and work on and then shift those in. So I just really take a couple minutes in between
Love
each
it.
client and just, like bring it back to that, like you're saying, that grounding state of just like, okay, I am here, I'm me, I'm centered, I'm safe. And then I can move into that next meeting or client or role, I like to call it,
Mm,
as my best self. How do you do it?
right. Well, me, so so I like to get up really early in the morning, about 6:30 in the morning, and I really cherish my cappuccino in the morning. I'm Italian. I gotta have my caffeine, right? I gotta have that little shot
Cheers.
of
Cheers.
espresso to that, right? Yes. Yeah, and I kind of do the same thing. I just start to mentally start to get
Mhm.
engaged on what my priority is. Of course, it's myself, but I
As it
still
should
work.
be.
I have a practice, right? Yeah. And how do I want to run my day? Like, what will be my intention that will serve me the best, right?
Yeah.
I love going to yoga. I do, I'm a hot yoga class generally in the morning. um, to begin my day. It's a bit of a challenge at times. And then after that, I start my work day. So I do teach as well. So that kind of encompasses all of that. But at nighttime, I find that because I've learned to decompress and recalibrate myself
Mhm.
to stay engaged and stay focused and stay in
Mhm.
alignment. I do find that I need to meditate at night now. It's not so much of sitting there and doing this. It's more having that deeper sense of self, like being really grounded, like we were just talking about, and centering on how my day was. Did I meet my intentions?
Mhm.
Is there something I need to work on? Is there something I need to reestablish within myself, right, for
Right.
the next day? And of course, I listen to Insight Timer. I don't know if you've heard of
I
that
haven't.
app. It's free. Actually, you can have it for a free, and they have some fantastic, like, 5-minute meditations just
That's
to,
cool. We're not
yeah.
promoting it. She's just
No,
suggesting it as a thing.
we
That's
don't get
cool.
any paid
It's like
promotion
water,
here.
right? It's like water. Yep, 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 yep. We will not be
Right.
in the comments. We're just gonna
No,
simply have it
that's
in there.
right. Exactly. So, but yeah, it's a great tool to have. And just for me, I need that because I, like you, go, 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 go. What can I do now? And
Yeah.
everything else. So I really had to really learn myself,
Mhm.
to really like make myself the priority for the day,
Yeah,
right?
it's a practice, right? So the more you
It
bring
is.
yourself back into that and it feels good and you see how that feels and you experience how that feels, you want more of it and then it's easier
Yeah.
and easier to just do that quick, like I love that word recalibrating that you use because it's that ability to just be like, okay, let me take a minute and just come back to the center, right? And
Yeah.
that way I can show up as my best self.
And especially in the line of work that we're both in,
Mhm.
we really need to kind of step away from that emotional
Absolutely. Yeah,
entanglement,
yeah,
right?
yeah, for
And
sure.
to get ourselves so we can be the best
That's
in
it.
that moment,
That's
right?
it.
So
Yeah.
for sure, we've both had to learn
Oh,
to
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
set boundaries, right?
Mhm, mhm, yep. And that's in like even the number of clients that I'll see in a day, or maybe by the end of the day, I'm realizing like, oh, I've been kind of discombobulated. I picked up my son from school. He's 8, and he's had an emotional day, so I need to spend a little bit of time like with him to just get him to reground. And then it's a friend texts and like, hey, you guys want to come over for dinner? I have to know that like if we choose to do that, it may take us boiling pot over versus
Yeah,
just being able to honor like we're not in a space right now where that actually serves us as much as we would totally love to come. And my emotional is like, yes, I want to come over, but knowing deep down that like this doesn't serve us today, being able to be
yeah,
like, hey, can I take a rain check on that? Right.
yeah,
And I think
yeah.
that's
Because
so, oh, sorry, go ahead, Kelly.
no, no, I was just gonna say that because, like, your son is younger, mine
Hmm.
is 20 now. So, but yeah, like, just taking into account like how your husband's day was, yours and your son, and what
Absolutely.
am I bringing? Like, what's happening at the table right now? Where can we go? Where can we decompress? Where can we recalibrate? Right?
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And I think all of that comes back to, so we're going to kind of bring it back into the bedroom for a minute or for a lot of minutes.
How did we get
I
there?
mean, let's just say. So it's this idea of, so we're kind of going back to that. Your friend texts, she asks you over to dinner, and you're just like, you know what, honestly, like, I can't, I love you, but mwah, I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
So same idea. Like, I see a lot of clients and hear a lot of people who just struggle in that idea of like, my spouse has instigated or is suggesting some kind of intimacy, and I'm done. I'm a new mom, I had a busy day at work, all the things, like, and I
Yeah.
feel like the life is sucked out of me, and I don't feel like I can energetically expend any more today. However, wife guilt or husband guilt, whoever you are watching.
Yeah.
So this guilt takes over. And then my thing is like, at that point, if you say yes to it, because of course we want this to be like you're choosing to be part of this interaction, is if I say yes to this, am I fully invested in a way that's going to serve me? Or is it kind of this like, hurry up and be done? I'm serving you, but I don't need anything out of it because I'm too tired to care.
Right.
And that's where I think this
Yeah.
self-awareness and this recalibration, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like,
Exactly.
no, 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 no. I mean, there's so many little things we could talk about with that, but it's this idea of, in this moment, does this serve me? And being
Exactly.
able to
Am I
stand in your
making
truth.
myself a priority? For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And I
Without the
mean,
guilt, without the guilt.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we can just touch on it just briefly this round, right? But that intimacy component doesn't have to be intercourse, right? It
Correct.
could
Correct.
be
Yep.
so many other things where you are making yourself a priority. You feel like a priority while still being intimate with your
Mm-hmm.
partner and sharing that, moment, however long it will
Mm-hmm.
be, without actually physically having to have intercourse, which you don't want to do. And you should not feel guilty about that. You should be able to create the space within your relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
To, not today, honey, but let's do this instead. And
Right.
who knows,
Right.
it might
Like, I
even
still
lead
want to
to that.
connect,
Yeah, exactly.
but can we do it in this way? Right.
Right. Yeah.
Kind of on the flip side of that though, like, I'll teach a brain hack where it's okay. So I'm going to bring it out of in the bedroom for a moment. And it's this idea of like, okay, I'm really tired. I've had a long day. I haven't slept well in weeks or months or years. And I don't feel like going to the gym, but I know that I need to move my body. I know that I know all the benefits of actually going to the gym, but I don't really feel like I want to go. So there is this idea of like, well, if you go to the gym and you just give yourself like a minimum, like, I'm going to give myself 8 minutes. And if in 8 minutes I am still like, this is terrible, it's not serving me, it's depleting my energy, then get off,
Yeah.
get out of the gym and go home or do whatever you need to do, right?
Yeah.
But more often than not, being in that 8 minutes, you then end up staying for 30, 40, 50, 60, whatever it is, because it's your body, your brain and body start to change, right?
Hmm.
So bringing that back into the bedroom, kind of something I teach is this idea of, let's say you're not an absolute no, like you're kind of like, I would love to, I am exhausted, but I would love to, my partner is initiating, is this idea of, how do I feel after? Like, what are 2 or 3 descriptives of how I feel when we've been connected or intimate? Again,
Hmm.
intercourse doesn't have to be part of that intimacy. So a lot of things I'll hear is like connected, feeling like satisfied or calm, having a sense of peace, having a sense of just this like deeper awareness of self, because you are with another human being in a way that no one else is with you or that other human being. So there's this level of just this like grounding, rooting connectedness in that. And so I kind of go back to like, okay, if I go to the gym for 8 minutes and it gets my endorphins running and I feel fantastic, I might stay for 45. If I'm agreeing to
Yeah.
move into this intimacy, I'm looking at it in a way of, how do I want to feel in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it takes, right? whatever
Yeah,
that intimacy time takes. And if I'm looking, if what's going to serve me is feeling connected and grounded, and I know that being intimate with this person is going to serve me in that way, then maybe I do choose yes. Right. So that's
exactly.
another way to look at it.
Yeah, that's brilliant, right? That's so nice. And it's your choice, right? And you're
That's it.
still creating a boundary that's comfortable
That's it.
for you. And when we bring it all back again to self-empowerment, right? That you are choosing what you want to do in that time, whatever intimacy is, in this case, is to
Right.
you.
Right.
I
All the
love that.
things. Yeah, it's owning it. It's just they don't have to know where your brain is taking that 3 minutes to kind of calculate everything out that serves you. But it at the end of the day, whatever your choice is, and I bring that part back to food. Like, if you're gonna eat the darn piece of chocolate cake, like own it, eat it, enjoy it, and move on.
Yeah,
Right? Like
exactly.
none of this guilt, none
Exactly.
of this like shame afterwards that like, oh, I shouldn't have had that. Da 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 da. No, like if you're going to choose it, own it, love it, be in it, but be aware of
Yeah.
what you need to then be able to own it,
Yeah.
love it, and be in it, right?
Yeah. And I mean, it makes the relationship in this case so much stronger in the sense because you're honoring yourself first and your partner and the relationship. So that is where we lead into the respect a component, right? Respecting
Yeah.
ourselves
Hmm.
and our choices and our space and our needs and wants, right? As well as our partners.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And that level of intimacy, no matter what that intimacy is for you, is going to feel and vibrate at a whole different level when
Yeah.
you're owning it and showing up in your best capacity for that interaction, right? Versus
Yeah.
just showing up as kind of like
Exactly.
I should or I have to, right?
Hmm. Yeah. Which is like, you talk with like your girlfriends, and there's always that component of, well, I had to be the wife yesterday, but why do we have to take on that role? Like, why do we have to begrudge that, right? There are so many other ways, which again, we'll have another episode on that fun stuff, is how to be intimate, right, with your partner without crossing a boundary that you've created because you don't want,
Hmm.
you don't want that right now.
So what would be your number one, eh, yeah, number one, maybe top two kind of like next best steps for somebody that is really thinking about like, oh, this makes so much sense, but I don't know how to become more self-aware. Like I hear what you're saying. It all makes
Yeah.
sense, but like what's my next
Yeah.
best step to start to integrate that in as a daily practice, or just like you go to yoga, right? Like what is that daily practice
Yeah.
that allows me to become more aware and then therefore have a stronger boundary and have a stronger awareness of how I want to
Mhm.
move into intimacy or any other kind of relationship stuff.
So truthfully, like you just said the words, it's allowing yourself that time, and
Mm-hmm.
respecting yourself to create that time for you to really just stop and just be and feel your feet on the ground or your slippers or feel your pajamas, feel that cup of tea or cup of coffee or whatever it is. Just look at it, enjoy it, and be grateful for that moment and
Mm-hmm.
encompass your whole self within that moment. You have to, be.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way, and you must allow yourself to be in that moment because that's where we rejuvenate. This is where we are connected to ourselves, to
Mm-hmm.
our higher self, to who we are, everything, right? But the whole trick is allowing ourselves that moment in time
Mm-hmm.
to create the space to do this, whatever
Mm-hmm.
you want to do, whether it's just sitting for 5 minutes and enjoying your coffee or tea or whatever it is, or laying on the ground and just feeling the ground, or if you want to do or meditate or whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is, or journal, whatever it is, listen to music, if as long as it's your time. Those are just
Yeah.
a few.
Yeah. I mean, gosh,
What
my
say
head
you,
just like
Dr.
started
B?
spinning on all these things I
I know.
could like add to, right? And then like
What say you?
self-acceptance and my own experience and like all this stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're not gonna get all like crazy here, but I think the idea of for me, affirmations was big. And that
Yep.
was literally kind of almost faking it till I made it. But the visual I have of affirmations, so coming up with like 2 or 3 aligned with me now, or the idea of like who I want to be. So I want to be strong. I want to feel safe. I want to be strong, and I want to be whole. Or I want to feel grounded. I want to show up with a smile on my face. Like whatever that is, in the sense of like who you're like projecting to be tomorrow or in the future, that woman you're working towards becoming, right?
Mm.
Is that you may not think you're her yet, but if you can take those qualities and affirm them now, that it's going to, the more you affirm them and you really like imprint that in at a cellular level, it allows that, really what I'm going to say, like anything that doesn't align with that. So old belief patterns, old feelings of I'm not good enough, I don't deserve abundance, I'm not lovable, like whatever those are, those negative that just are like
Yeah.
replaying in your subconscious, right? That affirmation, that like constant reminder of like, no, I'm freaking awesome, right? I am these
Yeah.
things and I'm working to become these things. Is that the more we can affirm them, they're replacing and kind of almost pushing away those belief patterns that we're not giving credit to anymore.
Yeah.
Right? So that was
Exactly.
big for me because I've
Yeah.
been through like 20 years of eating disorders and just lots of like self-identity loss and shame, and just especially after the rape, like lots of just different ideas of like who I wasn't.
Yeah.
Right. And so for me, that affirmation
100%.
really had to imprint like who I was at soul level, who I'm becoming, who I want to be, who I desire to be, and how I want to show up for myself and others. Right.
And the thing is that she's already there. She already exists. It's just pulling her out, right? And it doesn't have to be like 10 things a day. You can just do
Hmm.
one thing a day, right? To make yourself a priority.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
One thing,
Yeah. And
whatever it
believing you're
is.
worth it, right? Believing that
Yeah.
you're worth, 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Cause I see so often that, I'm going to say moms, but, moms that are in many roles and feel like they're just life's being sucked out of them, is like, I like from the minute I wake up, there isn't a moment. And I'm like, cause you haven't created one, right? Like
Hmm.
you haven't honored that you are worth that 5 minutes. Because, so the analogy I'll use is like a cell phone, right? Like I wake up in the morning and my cell phone's charged at 100%. Well, if I've been using it all day for various things, go, go, go,
Yeah.
constantly in my hand, at some point, let's say 6 o'clock at night, it's like 30% battery. I know it's not going to be able to last the rest of the evening. So what do? I get home, I plug it in. Even 10 minutes of being recharged is going to pump it up to that 70% mark, let's say. And then that I know I have, hey, I have 70% energy. This is going to get me through the rest of the evening. Right. So why
Right.
can't I look at myself in that same way of like, I just got
Exactly.
home from a long, hard day and I have 10 minutes. So I'm going to just sit my butt on the couch and drink a drink and do nothing. And I
Whatever it
deserve
is.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's going to
Exactly.
reboot me. Right.
So I've shared this with you a few times, but I'm going to share it again because there's a new crowd. So my sister-in-law, Jane, who's one of the most amazing women like in my life, I'm so grateful for her. But when I had my son, Graydon, she said to me right off the bat, she said, Kelly, make time
Mm-hmm.
for yourself, whether it's 2 minutes, 10 minutes, or an hour for yourself every day, whatever it is, because it will make you a better person, a better mother,
Mm,
a better wife, a better friend, a better therapist, everything. And she's absolutely totally right. And I still do it today. So I encourage everyone to really
mm-hmm.
take note, right? Create that 2 minutes for yourself a day and make yourself a priority.
Yeah. So if you guys remember from earlier, Kelly's son is 20 now. So she's literally been using those words of wisdom and implementing that into her for
For 20
20 years. Like,
years.
so great. Right. So no matter where you're at in your journey, my point is, whether you just had a child
That's right.
or your child is a grown human,
Yep.
um, you can still implement that. Like,
Yep.
I almost feel like we need to just end this episode on that because it was like mic drop, like
Okay. All
boom.
right.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So we
Right.
have 2 more episodes coming at you regarding sexual health, inner being around that.
Yep.
And we're always going to, at the end of a series of whatever topic we're talking about, because we are coming to you guys with a list, all sorts of topics, not just sexual health. So this is just how
That's
we're
right.
kicking it off for you all. But
Yeah.
at the end of each series, we're going to invite you guys to join us on a Zoom Q&A. So be looking out for that date, because we're going to have that for you, so that once this sexual health topic launches and you guys can circle back and engage with us, we would love it. Right, Kelly?
Yeah, totally.
So yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Mwah. Much love. We will
See
see
you
you on the next
later.
episode. Bye.
So